probability distributions are not observables physically. I think this is a simple idea that we have, but then if it is not written somewhere or if we don't focus on this, sometimes we miss the point. This is not something which you can actually obtain experimentally. Okay, you cannot do any experiment and say, okay, this is the probability distribution. No, it is based on a large number of observation and then analyzing that observation to actually find out a conclusion. So this is what is probability distribution is all about. Okay, so you can do that. Okay, I think it's not a very difficult thing, but when we talk about probability distribution, it is not observable. So for example, let's say a binomial distribution or a Poisson distribution. Okay, how head and tail are distributed when we do n number of trials and so on. These are all coming under probability distribution theory. Okay? And these are not physically observable. You can do n number of experiment and you see that, okay, this is the case that we have. Okay, so then we have to just take the general case. So in general, when we talk about this density, okay, this density which is actually dependent on the Hamiltonian, or we can say the total energy, this is basically a constrained system. Okay, this is basically a constrained system, and this can be analyzed in terms of the Dirac delta function. In terms of the Dirac delta function. Okay, so we know that if it is an equilibrium system, this will actually be nothing but equal to the energy. Okay, so then this will become more or less zero. Okay, so then this is a Dirac delta function, but then we are also going to go into that, and I think Dirac delta function will be more clear to you when you do your quantum mechanics. Okay, so you are only at the beginning of the course, so obviously it will take some time. So I understand that there is some difficulty to follow some terms because you have not come across these terms every time. Okay, but then the problem is the syllabus is such. Okay, every part cannot go parallelly, so we actually need to just go a bit to and fro. Okay, everywhere that's an issue. It's not an issue with the Indian syllabus. It's an issue with many syllabuses throughout the world. Okay, so E is basically constrained, and then H is equal to E. So Hamiltonian is equal to the energy of the system if it's an equilibrium system, right? And this rho EQ is basically called the microcanonical ensemble. This is called the microcanonical ensemble. So in the next unit, we are going to study more about this ensemble. But then I have used this term ensemble. You already know about what is canonical. Okay, canonical momentum, conjugate momentum, we have seen in classical mechanics, and it is a part of the generalized coordinate. Okay, and then we talk about micro. We already talked about this. Now, what is ensemble? So I'll just give you a very basic idea. What is ensemble? What you can do is we can consider a particular instant of time. We are having a system. We are considering any particular instant of time. Okay, and at this particular instant, infinite microscopic configurations are possible. Okay, that particular system at that instant of time may have different microscopic configuration. Okay, so let's say it will have a configuration A, B, C, D, and all this. Okay, so all these microscopic system are basically the mental copies of the same system for the same state. Okay, so each of them replicates another system. So if you have an entire box, okay, if you have a big box here, okay, and then you basically are going to divide this box. Okay, you're going to divide it into different parts. So how many are there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And each of them obviously doesn't replicate here because you know my drawing skills. So if we have an energy of, let's say, E in this case, and you have let's say a volume of V. Okay, I'm just not writing this. Write it outside to small space V. This E and V is replicated everywhere. Okay, replicated everywhere. So all this system will basically be a mental copy of the same system for the same state. All of them are in the same state of energy E and volume V. Okay, and this is called ensemble. This is called ensemble. Since I've used the term here, that's why I'm explaining it. But we are going to go more deep into ensemble because it forms a very important part of your syllabus, the third unit. Okay? So this is the ensemble. So the average behavior of the ensemble would be equal to the average behavior of the system over time. So if you consider one behavior, only one part of it, the way it behaves will be the same as the system behaves over a large period of time. Okay, so we can actually replicate it, we can add one to the other and so on. Okay, so this is actually important, and this is what is ensemble is all about. Okay, and now we are just going to go into more probability. Okay, so I'll just read it through. Okay, just try to listen to this very carefully, because the text has not been signed properly here. Okay, there is some problem with this text. Okay, so I'll just tell this. Okay, this is an important note. A lower temperature, so the temperature is low, classical statistical mechanics fails. So if you are considering the classical approach of statistical mechanics, whatever we have understood till now, it basically fails. So you have to use a different approach altogether. Okay, it's basically a more of a condensed system. Okay, so it's not that classical statistical mechanics will be valid everywhere. It will basically fail at certain temperatures also. So basically, if you consider a system in room temperature and so on, the classical statistical mechanics is very much valid. Okay, so if you basically consider the volume of the Hay space, so you have a phase space. That means there are it's a multi-dimensional space. And what is the volume? So let me, if I even if I consider a box, okay, this is actually a multi-dimensional box. Okay, and the volume of this box is nothing but considered to be m. Okay, and what is the number of microstates within the box? That is, let's say, omega. There are omega number of microstates. This is basically a standard symbol used, so we won't change it. Okay, omega is the number of microstates in a volume. Okay, so if I'll shortly come to what is microstate and macrostate by giving a different example. Okay, so what we can say? We can say that the microstate are countable now. The microstates are countable. So if we have a fixed volume, how many microstates are there, we can count. They might be very large, but still we can count. Okay, so what will be the probability of each microstate? Now exactly what I said, we have got state A, state B, state C, state 3, D. Okay, there are 4 states, suppose. So probability of one of the states, it would be 1 by 4. Second also would be 1 by 4. Third also would be 1 by 4, and fourth will also be 1 by 4. So probability will always remain the same. Okay, so I hope all of us are clear about probability. You have got a head and a tail. Okay, and then you toss an unbiased coin. The coin is not biased. This statistics is already there in your physics syllabus. Okay, even you have not taken it in maths in your plus 12 or something like that, you still have it in your physics. You toss a coin, unbiased coin. The unbiased means when it lands, it will either be a head or a tail. The probability are equal. So that means there is only two outcome, right? So probability means total number of outcome, which is 2, which might be either head or a tail. And then if I want head, that means there is only one possibility in one toss. That means it is 1. So that means it is 1 by 2. So desirable outcomes divided by total number of outcome is the probability. So we are using the same concept here. If you want to select one microstate, that will be only one microstate possible. That particular microstate, let's say A, state A, that is 1 divided by the total number of microstates. So total number of microstates, I've already said it is omega. That means the probability of each microstate is 1 by omega E. This is the underlying principle of working with statistical mechanics. The probability of extraction of a particular state is always equal to the probability of any other state of the system. Okay? So if all of these probabilities are considered, you basically get the total number of microstates. Okay, so this is actually important, and this will actually be our approach, so that we don't complicate things. Okay, we are studying a system which is more or less ideal in nature. That is why we are also going to study classical ideal gas. Now I will give you a different idea about microstate and macrostate, and this time I'm going to use a very strange idea. Okay, it's not something which is uncommon. You do have a lot of books which explains this. Okay, when it wants to explain microstate or macrostate, it can explain this. Okay, so the toy model. So in toy model, what happens is you consider n number of coins. Okay, in a toy model, you consider n number of coins. So if you consider n number of coins, that means let's say there are 10 coins, and you start tossing the coin. Okay, so let's say the first coin, I tossed it, I get a head. Okay, I get a head, and then I toss the second coin, I get a tail. Third coin, I get a tail, and then it keeps on going, and then again I get some n number, some n minus 10 number tail, and then head, and then so on. So after I have tossed all the coins, I have actually included all the information of each of these coins. Okay, I have included the information of each of these coins. So this will actually correspond to one microstate. This will correspond to one microstate. Don't get confused. Try to understand what I'm saying only in this line. Okay, so there are n letters possible. Okay, this will actually correspond to a string, one string. So you have got one string of output, only one string, because it's not that you toss one coin and the remaining 9 coins you keep it aside. No, you cannot consider that. Okay, because all those 10 coins will come under one enclosed system. So you have to find out a result for all those 10 coins. So 1 coin, 2 coin, 3 coin, all the things you do, you find out what are the head and tail, you put it together, and then that will actually correspond to a string. And that particular string is a microstate of the system. That is the microstate of the system. Okay, so in general what it does is it gives something about each particle of a system. So if you don't consider gas molecule, or if you are confused about gas molecule, consider that coin example. Each of these coin is one particle of the system. I toss one coin, I get a head. I toss the second coin, I get a tail. I toss the third coin, I get a head, and so on. And for this n number of coins, I have got one microstate in which all the particles output has been considered. Okay, that is microstate. Next, what we can do, we can jumble up. We can again take that head, tail, and all. And again, we can start tossing. It's not that the next time we'll have the same sequence. The sequence will be different now. Okay. So if the sequence is different, we will actually get another microstate. Okay. So how many number of microstates are there now? There are 2 to the power n microstates. Okay. So 2 to the power n microstates. I think this is very simple because you can either have a output as head or as a tail. So there are two. Okay. So there are two outputs possible, and then there are n number of coins. Okay. So 2 to the power n microstates. So understand it from a statistics point of view. Okay. If you have got let's say 2 coins. Okay. So if you have got 2 coins, let me just do this example. You can get, like, let's say, okay, something happened to the pen, seems. Okay, so what happens is this, that when you actually jumble up, so let's say I have got two heads, only 2 coins. I'm not going to confuse you. So you are going to get either a head or a head. Okay, we can get a head or a tail. Okay, let's take it from statistical point of view. We can actually get a tail and a tail possible. This is the third one, right? So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, or we can actually get a tail and a head. So see, there are 4 possibilities here. So that means how many coins are there? Two outputs are there, right? Two outputs. So it can be either a head or a tail. Okay. And then we are actually going to use only 2 coins. Okay. So don't get confused between these two. Okay. 2 coins. So 2 coins. So if you use 2 coins, not n coins, 2 coins, that 2 will come to the power. Okay, so it will be 2 to the power 2. So 2 to the power 2 is 4. So you see 1 microstate, 2 microstate, 3 microstate, 4 microstate. So this 2 to the power 2. Similarly, you can take 3 coins, but then it will take more time. Okay, it will be 2 to the power 3. So it will be 2 into 2 into 2. So there will be 8 possibilities. You can always do it and you check that there will be 8 possibilities. So this is exactly how it is counted. Okay, this is all probability. So it is more probabilistic in nature. Okay. And then, probability is a beautiful science. Okay, it explains a lot of things. Still, it remains questionable. Okay, we get doubtful about it. So, how many heads are there? Total number of heads are H. Okay, and how many tails are there? Total number of tail is T. So then we can actually consider a state where we have all the heads and all the tails. It's not that one head or one tail. Okay, I'm saying I'm tossed in 1, 2, 3, 4. I have tossed all the 10 coins and I have considered all the microstate. That means 2 to the power 10, let's say. And from there, I count how many heads are there. So there are H number of heads. From there, I count how many tails are there. So there are T number of tails. So I take a parameter n is equal to h plus t, and I also take another parameter h minus t. I can take any other combination also. Okay, so I can just take h plus t or h minus t. So this will actually form one set. This will also form one set. This will actually correspond to a macro state. So if you consider a probabilistic relation, okay, let's say a binomial distribution between m, where m is h minus t, and n, where n is h plus t, or you can take n and h, n is h plus t, h is the total head, or h and t, okay, total head and the total tail, okay. All of these will actually correspond to a macro state, because this actually has the information of the entire system. Because if we consider this head H, we have to know all the microstates possible. There are 1 microstate, 2 microstate, 3 microstate, 4 microstate, and so on, right? So if we know about all these microstates, then only I can say what will be H. If I know all the microstate, then only I can say what is capital T. That means if we consider any function m, n, h, h, t, and so on, this will actually represent the macro state, because it gives you the entire picture of the entire system, not one single entity. And this is what is the difference between microstate and macro state is all about. Okay, but then this is also quite logical that the number of macrostate will be much lesser compared to the number of microstate. For this, you can imagine this. If you consider n, okay, if you given n for a given n, okay, so what is n here? N is here h plus t, okay, heads plus tail, and you are considering its probability distribution, and then you are considering another parameter h with head. So h is one state, and then n, there are n number of states here, h plus t. So it will be n plus 1. So try to sleep over it, try to understand it, what exactly it means, why it is n plus 1. Okay, but we are going to come to that later also. But the number of microstate we have seen is 2 to the power n. Number of macrostate n plus 1. Number of microstate 2 to the power n. So the number of macrostate is much smaller compared to the number of microstate. So if that is the case, that means this is actually important. Okay, so we have to understand what is the difference between microstate and macrostate. Okay, so as you might have guessed, this is the last slide. So